Do not live with your kids. It will be bad for you in old age to get too close to your children. Do you ever wonder if it's really best to live with your kids when you get old? Many parents are in this situation because they want to feel safe and comfortable as they get older, but they find problems and frustrations they didn't expect. This video tells the moving story of Andy Young, a retired woman who found out how hard it was to live with her adult children. You will learn why it can be very important for your health and happiness to find a balance between being close to people and being alone. Read all the way to the end to find out important insights and useful tips that could change how you deal with family issues and find happiness in your golden years. Don't miss these important lessons. They could make a big difference in your life or the life of someone you care about. Before we begin, I'd love for you to stay with me until the very end, because I'll be sharing one simple habit that can gently boost your energy and well-being every single day. If this kind of thoughtful guidance speaks to you, please like the video, subscribe, and click the notification bell so we can keep this journey going together. And if you're here right now, please let me know by commenting, "Health is my daily gift." It's a beautiful way to remind ourselves and one another that every day counts. Andy has a boy and a girl. Her daughter is married and has kids of her own. Andy first chose to move in with her son and his wife after she retired. But after only a year of living with her son's family, Andy decided to pack her bags and go back to her hometown, where she could live on her own. Let's look at Andy Young's own experience to better understand this choice. When Andy's husband died 10 years ago, her life changed in a big way. She has been living alone and getting used to life as a widow ever since. As she got closer to retirement at age 60, her son became more worried about how lonely she was and suggested she move in with him and his wife. Andy agreed because he thought his action was a sign of love and duty as a son. She decided to move in with them because she thought it would be good for both her family and her son's family. At first, the deal looked like a fantastic idea. The daughter-in-law of Andy was friendly and helpful, and she made an effort to make Andy feel at home and appreciated. She asked Andy to make the most of her newfound free time by doing things like dancing, walking, or hanging out with friends. This warm welcome made Andy feel like he was important and welcome in the family. Things began to change, though, over time. What started out as simple requests for help with chores around the house turned into more demanding expectations over time. At first, Andy was only asked to help with light cleaning. But soon, he was given more difficult tasks, like cooking and taking care of all the housework. Also, people started expecting Andy to take care of the kids, which made things even more difficult for her. There was a sense of welcome and comfort at first, but as the demands grew, Andy felt overwhelmed and unappreciated. She had to make a tough choice because of the growing stress. After going through all of these changes and problems for a year, Andy chose to go back to her hometown and live on her own, instead of continuing to be the more and more demanding parent in her son's home. Andy Young's story shows how challenging it can be to decide if an elderly parent should live with their children. It makes me think about the balance between family support and personal freedom, how family roles change over time, and how these kinds of arrangements affect everyone's emotions. I always thought of retirement as a time of freedom and happiness, when I could finally enjoy the results of all my hard work over the years. I thought that my son saw things the same way I did. I imagined dancing in the town square, taking care of a small, playful dog, a small vegetable garden, and enjoying the peace and quiet of my hometown. I looked forward to spending time with old friends over tea in the afternoons, telling stories and laughing. But things have been very different in reality. Rather than enjoying the freedom I had hoped for, I was stuck in a never-ending cycle of unpaid work, taking care of my son's whole household. My plans for a peaceful retirement were quickly dashed when I had to take care of their family full-time. I had so many chores and responsibilities that I didn't have time for the things I had been looking forward to. One very disappointing event took place on a Saturday night. While I was cleaning up yet another mess, my son and daughter-in-law told me in a casual way that they were going on a 4-day trip. They treated it like an afterthought, like they didn't care how I felt without them. During their time away, they expected me to be in charge of the kids and the house by myself. It was irritating that they didn't care about how I felt. Their time off made me very angry because I had to run the house and take care of the kids while they enjoyed their time off. Every time I wanted to go see friends or take a break, I had a long list of chores around the house that called for my attention. The fact that I had to handle their duties while they were on vacation and enjoying their freedom felt unfair. Their easygoing lives were very different from mine, and the difference was painful and discouraging. Please leave the first comment below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me and that you think these lessons are helpful. I thought about my life for a few days and finally decided that I needed to live for myself. I chose to put myself first after giving it a lot of thought. For a few days, I told my son that I would be taking a short trip to see an old friend. He and his family would have to take care of themselves while I was gone. My daughter-in-law was upset, which was understandable, and she accused me of not doing my job. But I stuck to my decision. This was something I knew I had to do for my own health, and no one was going to stop me. Going back to my hometown was a big turning point in my life. I started to look forward to the retirement I had dreamed about for a long time. There were things I did every day that made me happy and satisfied. I was truly happy for the first time in a long time. It finally hit me that I couldn't keep putting other people's wants and needs before my own. I had already given my son and his family a lot of my time and attention. No longer could he depend on me to help him with his life. He had to take charge of it himself. In the country, there's an old saying that says, "When a tree gets big, it's time for the family to split up." This metaphor shows how children should eventually grow up and leave their parents' homes to live on their own. Even though having enough money is important, love and respect for each other are what make a family truly happy. Many older people think that living with their children will give them a sense of security as they get older, but they don't always think about the problems and extra work that can come with this arrangement. Parents need to keep some space between themselves and their kids. It's important to care for and support each other, but being too close can cause problems. Finding a good balance between being close and giving each other space is important for keeping family relationships healthy. Singer Andy once said something very moving. "Don't think about what your family has done for you or how they treat you. You need to do everything you can to help them." This very moving insight tells us to stop focusing on the problems or things we think are wrong in our family relationships and instead change the way we see them. Instead, it tells us to focus on what we can do and how much love we can give. Family relationships are hard to understand and often full of misunderstandings, but they are also some of the deepest connections we will ever have. When our loved ones hurt us or treat us badly, it's easy to hold on to anger and let it cloud our judgment. But Andy's words remind us of a higher calling, to put aside our own problems and care for the health and happiness of our family members. Our path to understanding and forgiveness can be especially hard when we are kids, especially if we think someone has been mean to us. It takes a lot of patience and understanding to put aside our anger and feel sorry for someone who may have hurt us. Such empathy doesn't mean we should ignore valid complaints or put up with unfair treatment. Instead, it means we should try to deal with family issues with kindness and an open mind. There are no other bonds like family ties. They give us support, love, and a sense of belonging and make our lives whole. Being kind and open-hearted is very important for keeping the peace in our families. In practice, This means actively trying to heal rifts, find common ground, and create a safe space where everyone feels loved and valued. Using this method can change the way we interact with each other, making a place where respect and understanding grow. By putting these values first, we help make the family environment more loving and supportive, strengthening the bonds that hold us together and leaving a legacy of kindness and unity for future generations. Let's honor these bonds that can't be replaced by always trying to be our best selves and creating a space where love and forgiveness can grow. Thanks for seeing it. We hope that Andy Young's story has helped you understand how hard it can be to live with adult children and how important it is to find a balance between family relationships and your needs. If something here spoke to your soul, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to continue walking this path with us. And if you're open to a little universal magic, drop your age in the comments. Many believe that declaring your years with pride sends a ripple of strength and vitality through the universe, and it returns that energy right back to you. Stay strong, stay curious. This is your time to thrive.